Welcome, everyone, again to the JP Network. I am your host, Paul, and if this is your first time being here, please like and subscribe. But we want to welcome you to the JP Network. There has been some recent changes with our current platform, and we are going to discuss that. But our new live stream is now hosted on Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, with that said, please join us and subscribe to Joanna and Paul and Love Beyond the Sea. Anyway, we're going to get right into the disclaimer. Our thoughts and opinions are our own. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, and there's always exceptions to the rule. With that said, I would like to welcome back my co host and good friend, Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Welcome, Bob.
Good evening, Paul.
Yeah, welcome.
Interesting to see how this goes tonight. We'll just start a couple hours later, and hopefully more people are ready to spend a little time here.
Yeah, exactly. So, with that said, we are going to go right into our topic. We're not going to waste any time, but we do want to welcome, and well, actually, let's see. Actually, let's welcome everyone and say hi to everyone. Please leave a name. Let us know that you're here, where you're from, where you're watching from. Here is Rain, and Rain says hello. Hello, Rain. Where are you from? And but with that said, I guess today's topic we will be talking about responding and dealing with criticism when dating a Filipino or even a foreigner spouse, a foreign spouse. What do you think about that, Bob?
I think you have to talk about this. You have to
Mm-hmm.
be prepared for it because
Mm-hmm.
it's not common. It's out of the norm, and anytime something's out of the norm, people
Exactly.
scrutinize that. They have certain, preconceived ideas about it, and some are not bashful to tell you. Others you'll just hear whispers about. But before you marry somebody from another country, I think you have to expect not everybody's going to even understand what you did and why you did it, and you don't have to necessarily defend yourself at every corner.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to defend yourself. Sometimes silence, and I think the Bible really speaks about that. Is silence is sometimes the best answer is dealing with these conclusions. These situations, because sometimes that people get we can get really defensive dealing with a lot of criticism, a lot of hatred, especially dealing with certain individuals. I think it's even in the book of Proverbs, don't answer a fool in their folly. You know,
Yep.
with that being said, so moving on and everything, we will be jumping right into that, and let us know, guys, if you have any questions or comments, concerns, if this happened to you, if you have, if you're dealing with criticism, we're here to help you. We're here to help you find truth in that in a godly sense. We're here to show light on this, but you will probably face it, especially if you are dating a Filipina, or even any kind of foreign spouse for that matter, because there's a lot of notions and a lot of hatred. I'm sure we all know about 90 Day Fiance. That's a big stigma out there in the world that people just don't quite understand what this is about with us, and it's very different for us. We have a different perspective of how we found love that the rest of the world doesn't really understand. They don't really want to understand, and they want to criticize us for that. But with that facing, you will face some skepticism from your family. How's that, Bob? What do you think? Did you
I think
face some skeptic?
family. Well,
Huh?
the family would be the place where you want to get the most support.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're not necessarily looking for sympathy, but you are looking for a little support that, okay, help me understand why you're going so far away, or have you thought about the age difference, or have you thought about getting scammed? And for somebody to have a legitimate conversation about that, you like to think your family would do that and kind of give you the benefit of the doubt, maybe. I mean, they
Yeah.
know you better than anyone. So if you are making a mistake, the family would be a good place to go. But that's discouraging if your family's not supportive. And it could come to a point, it could be so serious that if they're really unhappy with you and they're determined to make life tough on your wife when she gets here, that you might want to consider taking that criticism seriously enough to rethink the whole thing, because
Mm,
you don't want to bring her here and right away she's in the middle of something, because she's going to go right back out. She doesn't want to be the cause of controversy. She wants support from your family, and if there's someone in your family that's going to, remind her she made a mistake or remind you made a mistake, then what good is that with no peace in the family? And that could happen. I'll bet it does. And sometimes guys just say, I don't care. As long as I'm happy, it doesn't matter what my family thinks. But again, he's got to think about that woman that's going to be in family gatherings now and then, Christmas, uh, you know, Thanksgiving, whenever they get together. And so he ought to think about not burning any bridges, I think, before he gets married. But I think most families are probably willing to take a wait and see attitude towards that, if not be supportive.
mm. Yeah, very true. I didn't really think about that per se. I didn't think that, to even reconsider dealing with your family in such a way and to actually prepare yourself if this is something that your family is not really finding that you really need to be doing, you probably do need to maybe take that into consideration. I didn't really think about that. I think the more for me per se, my family was generally supportive, but they were cautious. And
Yeah,
that was kind of me facing that situation that they didn't really quite understand. And even my sister, she was just like, "Are you sure? Are you really sure that you want to do this?" And that's facing some skepticism among your family.
but at least it didn't get to the point of criticism, did it?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But especially if they do criticize you, that could be a bigger problem. And yeah, just like you said, you don't want to involve her in that. You want them to support her. You guys want to join together, and you want a happy life and a happy family. And you want especially when coming to the US, you want your family to support and help her because she's going to be moving away from her family. She's not going to have her support, her shoulder and her family that she's used to. She's going to need all of you, especially all of you, and then also need, especially if possible, your support of your family. Now, since we kind of live in the United States, we kind of take a different approach toward family values. We kind of like live separately. We don't live closely niche together. We don't live like what is that patriarchal role in the Philippines where the family kind of sticks together. We kind of spread out and we kind of don't talk to each other for sometimes months, decades. I mean, that's kind of how it is. And it's kind of disappointing that's how it is, but family in the Philippines, they really stick together. Have you faced that too? You know a little bit about how family sticks together?
Well, being married to my wife for 8 years and 9 months, we've
Mhm.
had plenty of intentional and unintentional conversations about the family and the culture and
Mhm.
how important it is. And I certainly I accept it now, and I understand it because I've been there 5 times, so I've seen it myself.
Yeah.
I've met the people, and I've learned more about the Philippines since I got married in 2015.
Mm.
And the family is, I mean, their families are probably, supportive, and they stick together, like you said. And for her to come and marry somebody and all of a sudden get the sense that, there's some animosity, she'll pick up on that. She
Mm.
wants to be
I like that
embraced,
word.
embraced by your family,
Yeah.
not kind of hear whispers and weird looks, and then she'll get the idea that, does your family like me? That's why I think it's important that, in fact, one thing you could do is, to help your family be more comfortable, is like we did. My I had my wife in the Philippines meet with my mother, from, Nebraska,
Mhm.
and just to talk, so that my mother knew who this person was that I just went and got married to. No, it was actually before we got married. Before I went there, they met online on the camera, and then I did the same thing with my pastor, because I didn't want to get married. I didn't want to marry somebody that he would not approve of.
Okay.
That's another person that, I
Yeah.
guess could have some grave doubts about what you're doing.
Yeah, we'll be talking
He,
that like skepticism in the church in the
he
next segment.
approved of it, so we got married, and we have such a small family. It's like all she has to do is please two people, basically. And then my aunt just moved, so it's just basically my mother and I. here. So that's pretty easy if you don't have a lot of family.
Yeah, I don't have a very big family either. It's just me, my son, my mom. My uncle doesn't really come around. My dad doesn't typically come around, but he's there. He is supportive, but he just doesn't really come around as much. My family doesn't really stay together, but it's pretty much the majority of my family. Most of my mother's siblings have kind of already passed on, and my dad only talks to uh, two of his family members. I think he still has a brother and a sister that are still alive, but they're out in a different state, and I don't think I've ever met them. But I think his brother has come in, and they've rode motorcycles together, and they've recently went to the Lake of the Ozarks together. But other than that, I haven't really met my uncle. So
I have you here sometimes.
yeah.
Sorry to hear that, Rain. I know those are two obstacles
What is Ray saying? Rain?
for
What is he
anybody
saying?
to get married.
He said, I would love to be in a relationship, but I think relationship with a woman is not obtainable because I'm disabled and I don't have steady income. I think no matter where the woman is from, that is a very difficult situation, especially when you do pursue a woman like this. You do need a steady income. You have to actually prove that you actually make it. What is it? I think it's called the poverty guideline, right, Bob?
A certain percentage above
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you have to meet a certain threshold just to even sponsor your wife to the United States, if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, you could go over there and live with her, but if you're on a limited income, it's difficult and being disabled. But there is hope in that. I mean, you could check that out. There, depending on, especially if you do have this in Social Security, the possibility of moving there. Facing that, it is a possibility of doing that. I wouldn't say that it's for everyone, but you can get better health care. But I wouldn't say better health care. You could get what is it? I guess you can get like a caretaker to help you, especially if you're disabled. They're cheaper over there. They're way cheaper over there than here, and they it's like pennies compared to here. You might be charging, like, someone might be charging $30 an hour plus 30 to $50 an hour to be an in-home caretaker for there, and over there it's like $7 to $10. So, like, very little. and But it is affordable and it is something that you could check out. But I wouldn't do it unless you really know your budget. That being said, if you can do it. Are you ready to move to the next topic, Bob? Or you want?
Neither of us had that tough a time with our families.
Okay.
But I know other people have.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so our next topic is you will face a little bit of skepticism, at least hesitation from your church. That is possible, and yeah, I guess that was one thing that I kind of faced even with my pastor. There was one of my deacons actually in church. He actually, like, my pastor announced that me and my son are going to go overseas, and he kind of left it very open, like nobody really knew, and they thought I was getting ready to go on a missions trip because they actually thought I was going to go on in the Philippines. I don't know if that happened to you, but many people in my church were asking me, is like, oh, you're going on a missions trip? I was like, no, I'm getting married. And they were, and actually one of my deacons actually asked that and everything. He's just like, are you going overseas for a missions trip? And I was like, no, I'm getting married. And he was like blown away. He was like, really? No. I was like, yeah, I'm getting married.
Whatever it takes. I mean, the whole earth is a possibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the majority of my church seem to be pretty supportive. Lately now, I actually have a lot more ladies within my church. They actually have like these daily Bible readings and writing Bible verses down. Included my wife into those daily readings and those daily verses, and that's really good. These older ladies, and they've actually met my wife, and they're really ready for her to come to the U.S. But currently, my wife is currently not in the U.S., so I'm waiting on that. But they have been a great help. I have one wonderful woman. Her name's Carol. She's been almost like a grandmother to my son and helping bridging the gap between Joanna buying gifts and her also helping buy gifts for Colton and saying it's from Joanna, which is really cool. And it's been really, been a really big blessing within my life, helping me take care of, because I'm a single father, helping me take care of my son and helping provide some things and saying it's from Joanna and just surprising my son doing that. It's really a blessing to do that. But did you face a whole lot of criticism with your church, Bob, or did you face any kind of skepticism, any issues, or did you just any people was kind of hesitant about it, say anything, even minorly?
Only person that would have had any impact at church would have been my pastor, who
Mhm.
I told him on day 12 that I was thinking about proposing to her.
Mm.
Day 12, I still have the email that I used in my petition to show when this relationship really kicked in.
Mm.
So that's a significant moment. So you want to use stuff like that. So what was I saying? I forgot already.
You're talking about your pastor, and you're talking
Yeah,
about
my pastor, and he was honest and said,
Mhm.
"Well, I wish she was like 4 years older."
Mm.
He was thinking like maybe a 22 or 3 year age gap or something like
Mhm.
that. I said, "Well, I can't help that, but I really think that I could marry her. She would want to marry me." And I was sharing with him some of our conversations so that I'm not just hiding this from everybody. I want that to be out in the open. And if he saw something he didn't like, hopefully I would have seen it first.
Mm.
But if not, he can share that with me. And so he didn't want to stand in the way of me getting married. He hadn't thought about overseas, and he was surprised I would want to do it so fast. So was I, really. But he didn't see any reason to prevent that from happening. And he's been somebody that I've been getting counsel from long before I got married, and hopefully will for a long time. So even now in our relationship, I'll go to my pastor because he knows my wife well enough by now
Yeah.
and us. And so he can say, remind me of what I'm supposed to do. He's not going to feel sorry for me. He's just going to remind me what does the Bible tell you as a husband?
Mm.
And so, okay, that's what we focus on. So I have that accountability then. And other than him, the whole church, when my wife came here and she was shy, she was meeting everybody. It must have been a Sunday morning because there were more people there. And then an immigrant woman from Australia and a younger woman, was about her age at the time, at the church, threw a party for like a welcome to USA party a few weeks later. And the church had about 70, maybe 70 people, in attendance, 70, 75. But we had 70 packages, 70 gifts we put in our apartment that we lived in at the time. So the church welcomed her. I wasn't invited, it was just women, to this shower, so to speak. And she got 70 gifts. Now, if that doesn't say, we're going to give your relationship a chance, welcome to our church, that speaks a lot for the people there. So they've been nothing but supportive, and they all love my wife. They're crazy about her. So
Yeah.
everybody seems to be. So
Mm.
they're very impressed with her.
Well,
Now,
that's good. Yeah.
would that be with the next guy? I don't know. I mean, if
No.
I'm being told that this is terrible, this is red flag, don't do this, don't do that, and I'm just, shunning all that advice, well, yeah, he's not going to give me his blessing. And he probably asked the elders to pray for me so I don't make a terrible mistake. And then other people get involved, and because they love me, they care. But we didn't have to do any of that. But I still get help when I need it, and I would recommend
Good.
every married man
Yeah.
have somebody to talk to intimately and openly about your marriage, because that's just iron sharpening iron.
Exactly. And you need that, like that
Exactly, somebody that knows more
yeah.
about
Yeah.
marriage
You need
and
that mentorship too.
experience than I do.
Somebody who's been married longer too. You kind of need that also.
Yeah,
So any
any age.
accountability, even. Yeah.
Well, accountability is hard, but if your
Mhm.
pastor is hard on you and he says, okay, what your responsibilities are, and I want
Mhm.
to hold you to that. And by keep reminding me, this is your responsibility, Bob. You're supposed
Exactly.
to do this, not that.
Mm.
Well, I need that. And for me to be the best I can be, I need that. So fortunately, the church has been good, but I know other people have talked to their pastor and they weren't crazy about the idea. Not
Yeah.
for me, but for them, when they say, I'm thinking about going to the Philippines, look for a wife, can't find one here. Often they think it's too dangerous.
Mm. Yeah. And
There
yeah,
is some danger, sure, but
yeah.
look,
I'll
you're
write
going
that
to
down.
find somebody. You're going to have to inconvenience yourself in some ways to get that spouse. That seems like an impossibility where you live in your country.
Exactly. Sorry, I was writing something down real quick. You made me think of something. I think my wife's trying to say something. Uh, uh, but hold on. Uh, uh, Rain Rain said, "I'm currently in the U.S. For someone like me, do you think it's a waste of energy looking for a relationship in the U.S.?" I don't think it's a waste of energy, but for us, just us, um, when we've exhausted all of our resources trying to, I guess, confidently find someone in the U.S., we were daring. I guess daring. I guess that might be the word, but daring enough to find someone overseas. We, we were like, we faced like this point where it's just like, well, why not? Why not just try to find someone overseas? But is it absolutely impossible for God to work in your life and find you a woman in your home country? No, that's it. It I sorry, is it impossible? I don't think it's impossible. I do think that finding someone in the U.S. is possible, but you need to put God first. You need to be praying first. You need to be putting yourself in a situation that a woman would want to be with you. Women are very prone to confident men. Even you are facing your disability, if you're confident no matter what you do, you will face you will eventually find someone who's willing to walk with you in that situation, even if you're disabled. I've been around plenty of people, and I've seen disabled people be with other disabled people, and that's a possibility. You might be looking for that, but your first start is to even try to, even if you can, find someone in the local church, find someone in a community, that has similar values and similar understandings that you do. Do you agree, Bob? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible. I
Yeah.
know some people with disabilities have that in common.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that's the only way it has to be, but it comes down to all of us, to be realistic about our situation. If
Hmm.
I'm 70, I have to have a certain realism about my odds versus somebody that's 25, or, my ability to support myself and so on and so forth. But like I said, Rain, Ken Active Kindness is a channel. This guy married a Filipina. They're in Minneapolis or somewhere in
Yeah.
Minnesota. And he was disabled, had some kind of a brain issue. And he said he went through or searched for like 10,000 women
Mm.
before he found someone. So the point there is persistence. And if you want to check out his channel and scroll through some videos, and you can see a person that probably was very much in the situation you just described, and just see what you think. His name is Ken Act of Kindness, and I think it's all one word.
I see.
See what you think.
Okay. Yeah, and yeah, I think it's definitely feasible for you to find somebody overseas if you can. But if you can't, then yeah, definitely try to find someone locally if you can. I do know there are people out there, and it's definitely possible. I haven't seen this Ken Act of Kindness, but I'm gonna have to check him out too. I need to write that down actually. But yeah, stay tuned, man. If you're still interested, and even if you're looking, just generally looking and trying to, see what kind of resources you have. To even possibly do this kind of things, but either way, regardless, that if we can't help you find a woman overseas, we're still going to help you at least look for a woman in a good God fearing relationship. I truly believe that. No matter if you do have the ability to look for a woman overseas, that's what we did. But if you don't have that ability, I think definitely putting God first and putting God first in your relationship is definitely just valuable altogether. Looking for that kind of woman is just it's gonna be it's gonna be a dream. It's gonna be wonderful out of that.
And Paul and Rain, when I was younger, there was a young kid in church, probably in his early 20s, and he, I guess, did something wrong with some fireworks when he was younger, and he
Mm.
blew off both hands.
Oh
But
wow.
here he is, like 20, 22 years old, and he's got these hooks in both hands. It was a fireworks accident at some point in his life, and he ended up marrying a woman in the church, a young woman in the church. I knew her parents back then, and they had convinced her apparently to look for character as the number one thing. And of course, as a believer, they're both believers, but the young man got married. And I mean, I don't know what your situation is. Everybody's got a different situation, but
Yeah.
it's pretty rough, and have, oh, well, look at this here. I don't, you'll maybe Paul knows the name of this guy because I did a video on him. And when he was younger, he was born without legs and arms.
Oh,
Um, it's like a
is he a Christian? Is that?
Vucetic or something. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I've seen him.
oh
Yeah,
man. But
yeah.
anyway,
He
no
was
arms.
in he was in the band also. Like he was like introduced but he was in the military, right? And like
No, I think he was just born that way.
oh, okay, there was a man born that way. There was another
So
guy that was in the military and he was disabled. He had his arms and
he got married
all his
to a
limbs fell off.
beautiful Christian woman, and they've got like 3 kids.
Mm.
And but she married him because she felt called to marry him. He also has
Mhm.
an outstanding, delightful personality, and that couldn't hurt. But yeah, the
Exactly.
woman, she felt God told her, "This is the man you should marry." Now he's a godly man. He goes around and he does speaking engagements, and
Yeah.
he should be an inspiration to everybody. That if you can't find somebody, and this guy with no arms and no legs can find an attractive woman to give him a family, maybe you're not trying as hard as he could. Maybe it's not as serious as it should be.
Mm.
But yeah, there is an example of somebody with an extreme disability. But when you're disabled, anything, a woman will, and this is hard, but a woman will want to know that you can persevere through those difficulties. You may rant and rave like me,
Yeah.
lose your temper, but you have to be strong and persevere and try to have a good attitude about things and accept what you can't change, because having a good attitude like that's one of the um, it doesn't get a lot of attention, but it's a trait that can help you attract a woman and even keep her, just by not being even keeled. Get up when you're supposed to get up, and don't get too down. Be realistic, be strong. When she's down, make sure that she can go to you for her shoulder
Exactly.
to cry on, and be positive, and
Exactly.
don't let
Yeah.
life get you down, because life is hard enough without my negativity
Yeah.
affecting my
This
wife,
is
or her negativity affecting my wife. Usually it's my negativity. If she's unhappy, I try to understand exactly what happened.
mm.
What put you in this kind of a mood?
Yeah. I know that for me, I listen to Focus on the Family, and I know Focus on the Family really puts some people who have some major disabilities in their life and people who can't speak right, people who had a stroke, people who didn't have limbs, people who couldn't walk, their back broke. And you see God really showing himself in their lives. And even some of them have faced through those trials and called it an actual blessing from God. Like a lot, like out of that, they were able to do something greater out of that. They looked as not as their disability as being something that was hurting them and keeping them away from God and put it like that, but it drew them closer to God. And that was just one thing that I noticed. Now I don't really have those kind of disabilities, and I don't really know in how to experience those things. And if you are facing disability, I just want you to just confidently look at what does God want you to do? What can you learn out of this? Asking God, what is it that he would desire you to do out of these things? That putting that first in your life, a woman will eventually be drawn to you because you're not going to let your disability get you down. And we've encountered and we've heard and watched other people, even though that they face these things. I think there was this one particular woman. She was a Christian, and I think it's like her job was like she was like a professional diver, and at one point she was diving on a cliff, and she hit the rocks below, and I think she broke her back or
Oh, it must be
broke her
Joni
neck.
Eareckson
Yeah,
Tada.
but she wound up going on and being like this
Yeah.
great speaker,
Oh, yeah.
and like, but people have to literally spoon feed her every day because she can't move any part of her body.
Joni Eareckson Tada.
Yeah, that's her. Yeah, exactly.
And she got
Exactly.
married
Yeah, she got married too.
because
Exactly.
that man felt God's calling to marry her, just
Mhm,
like some women find God's calling to marry that man.
mhm, mhm. I good. Rain said, "I've been told to have a good personality, but a woman rejected me because I'm jobless." Um, then she's not the right woman. Honestly, she's not the right woman. But honestly, if you let your jobless get the benefit of you and keeping you down, the woman's going to see it more than you actually being jobless. I don't know if you're on disability or not, but there are women that are willing to, regardless that you're jobless. Uh, there's women that will literally stay with a man who lives with their parents because they're jobless, and they live off their parents. And then she comes in and she brings in food and she works. It shouldn't qualify for everyone. But if she's not willing to look for you, even though you have a good personality, and she wasn't really the right one for you, I'm just being honest about that. Because we all face hardships in our life, and no matter what, you need a woman to walk with you to and that's what like marriage is, for better and for worse, right, Bob?
That's what I say. That's what God says.
Yeah, exactly. Especially for you, you need a woman to really walk with you for worse. And if you're really facing the worst right now, then you need a woman to lift you up. But you can't only let her lift you up. You still have to be strong to her. You have to be strong willed, and no matter what, even though you're facing these situations in your life, you need a strong woman. Sorry, you need a woman that you could be strong to. And but we're gonna, I guess, go ahead and move on. Rain, if you have any more situations, just follow us and let us know. I mean, we're still here for you. We're but the church, and then Bob knows this one. You'll be criticized for your age gap.
Um, well, the only time I've been well, except for if you don't count trolls,
Mm.
because
Well, I
the
think we should
trolls,
count trolls.
well, okay, then that's I mean that's a criticism, but
Mhm.
I kind of think some of it's wrapped in jealousy and envy
Sure. Yeah.
too. But
It's wrapped up in
nevertheless,
things. Yeah.
when if you have an age gap, and ours is like what is it, 27 years, people when the average is like almost everybody is 1 to 3 years, and
Mm.
you get to 20 and it's about 1% or less, you are kind of an oddity. And so one thing a guy can do to avoid criticism, well, as I've made videos before, don't act like an old man. um, Take care of yourself, have a young mindset. Don't be a old cranky surly guy, because that's not what a young woman wants to be around. So take care of yourself, have a good attitude, want to go out and have fun and do things with her, because she does want to do that and she does deserve that. Um, but I have had a backhanded criticism when my wife she overheard a conversation at work where the person that heard it told her
Well,
that
yeah,
somebody at work had said
I
she
guess we're
was
gonna
a
go
mail
there.
order bride. She was a mail order bride and husband was old or something like that. Now to them, that's just like from another world or something. To
Yeah.
many of us that are married in the Philippines, it's not that big of a deal. But those comments can really hurt your wife. So you can be hurt by criticism, but your wife can too if she hears some criticism. So I supported her. We went to HR and we had them reported for every like 4 different ways that violated HR resource policy. And so before they got to the locker room the next day, human resources was waiting for them and to discuss their attitude towards my wife.
Mm.
That's and of course that would mean they had something against me. But I later worked with that person. I didn't say anything, think anything bad of them, say anything bad with them. I just went to work, and we were teammates, while we're working together. So the more normal you can act, the less defensive you can act. Eventually, even if there is some initial criticism, it's going to disappear
Hmm.
because you're going to look normal. Your body language that they observe, consciously or not, will look normal. An appropriate level of touching, an appropriate level of eye contact, and gestures and stuff like that. And then they'll say, yeah, that looks pretty normal, and then they just get used to it.
Hmm.
They just have no choice but to accept it. But early on, there'll be criticism. Your wife doesn't want to see you go punch anybody, so just know that they're jealous and let it go.
Yeah.
That's my advice. If you get criticism there, and you're sure that there's nothing wrong with what you've done, then you should be secure enough to not have to retaliate when you hear a negative comment.
Did you face any criticism prior to your wife coming here and working? Did you face anything like that? I know I did. I faced, well, I mean, just some biases and some things going
No,
on, and
curiosity.
yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, I faced some curiosity too, but I also faced it like a lot of people were trying to tell me, like, you better watch out, you're gonna get your kidney stolen, or they're gonna kidnap you, or a whole bunch of other things like that. She's just a scammer and other things, all these different notions. You need to try it before you buy it, kind of the notion. You wouldn't take a car out and like, sorry, you wouldn't buy a car out before you test drove it. That was another criticism that someone once mentioned to me, and prior to me actually getting married, because I didn't really meet my wife in person. That was kind of a thing. It was just all virtual, and a lot of people were criticizing me for a lot of different things that I was doing prior to that situation. And I mean, I felt expressly trying to tell everyone. I don't know if you told a lot of people, but I certainly told a lot of people what I plan on doing, because I also needed to kind of also prepare for it for work. I needed to like let people know at work. And then it got a work around, and people were asking me questions about what I'm doing. And I said, yeah, I'm going to go overseas and get married. And I'm not the only one that ever got married. I think there was another gentleman also in my workforce. He got married to a Brazilian woman, actually.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, and that he, it's not a Filipina, but he brought her here, and they're happy together. But I didn't meet him firsthand. I didn't know anything about him until afterward. But I know there's a lot of us that do this. If you know anything about what we're doing, actually, I don't know if Bob actually knows this, and I wish I can show it, but like like uh I think it's like the success rate of American and Asian relationships is way bigger. Like they're like way bigger than all other successful marriages in America. I think uh I think they only rate for at least half. I think half the percentage of all divorces in America, Asian and Americans. And that's actually still a big number when the majority of like other cultures, it's more like 80%, or like, I don't is it half? I think it's less than that. I think it's only like 15%. I would have to look again. I don't know. But but the truth is that we have it's 13%. I remember 13% of most Asian American relationships only end up in divorce compared to other cultures. That's what it was. I remember now.
I've heard of that, Paul, and
Yeah.
I've also heard there was some criticism about the way they conducted the study or how carefully
Mhm.
they conducted
Yeah,
it.
I remember
American,
that too.
what's wrong with American dating American women? Good evening, exposing CIA operatives. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. If you can find
Yeah.
somebody, if I could have found somebody like I assumed, well, I was wrong and I couldn't find anybody. And so I didn't look at Philippines in a rant over American women. calling American women names and stuff like that. I just said, okay, what do I have to do? I didn't criticize them. I just wanted to keep moving forward. I just didn't know what direction to turn.
Mm.
And one thing happened and led to another, and it was the Philippines, which I thought, well, I've always thought they were cute. And I know somebody that married a Filipino a long time ago.
Yeah.
We still do now, actually.
Mm.
And so I thought I'm just gonna try somewhere else.
Yeah,
And
that's what we did.
Day 17 of joining Christian Filipina, 17th, the 12th day I knew my wife, I proposed to her. Or excuse me, I told my pastor I was thinking about it. And then 6 days later, 18 days in, I proposed to her. And then we got married in less than 8 weeks in the Philippines. And I came back. So nothing wrong with American women. American women here think my wife is amazing. And some of them really love my wife and want to help her in any way possible. So to me, that speaks highly of those women. I think it just depends on what crowd, what pond you're getting those fish from. I've never said all American women are terrible and we should leave them. But if you can't find a good one for whatever reason, and maybe the women that are when I was 53, everybody that was 50 wanted somebody that was in their 40s. So I had gotten to the point where I think I'd be looking at 60-some-year-olds. And then I tell myself, did I wait this long, decades, to marry somebody older than me? No, I didn't. So I was very happy I was able to find someone, and it doesn't mean that there couldn't have been an American woman. Maybe God prevented me from marrying such a woman or from getting in trouble with other women. I don't know. I just know that was in 2015, and I've moved on to my new life.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm there with you on that same part. Exposing CIA operatives. This isn't an open debate. This is not even a discussion. Actually, you should have been here when we were actually talking about the differences between American women and Filipinos. We actually talked about that back then. This is just this particular live stream is only for facing criticism from other people. When we did go overseas and get married, we experienced criticism, critique. We experienced a lot of haters, a lot of people calling us simps, a lot of people calling us pedophiles or something, trying to think that we're going after young children or something, which that's not even the case. A lot of other people that would consider us, call our wives gold diggers or green card people. These are things and accusations that we would normally get because we decided to do that. And I don't think what you're trying to debate with is something that we've already covered. But if you want to have an open debate later on, we will. Me and Bob will discuss that, and we can get your information. You can put that. Actually, you can hit Bob. Bob, do you have an email on your channel or something?
I would say it's in the YouTube description.
Yeah. So you can hit one of us with an email. Mine's
no,
it's
not. YouTube. It's not there. I took it out because I was getting way too many emails. But it's in there.
Okay.
Probably in maybe what used to be the About.
Okay.
There used to be a tab called About. Now you got to click on an arrow to move over to see the About tab. Or maybe it looks different.
Different tab. I remember that. And now they took out that, and
the layout's changed a little bit.
Yeah, changed the layout. But yeah, if you want to talk about a possible debate, we will send you over. We'll send over a spreadsheet, and we can talk about something that you feel comfortable with debating. And we can debate God, or we can debate about marriage. We can debate about the differences between American women. I think personally, I don't think anything's wrong with American women, but I think we're facing a lot of women that are asserting themselves too much, and they are becoming, not manly. They're becoming less feminine. I would say a lot of them are becoming less feminine, and a lot of them fit this characteristic of not needing men. And that's just my personal thing. And it's kind of puts itself in a predicament because we see a lot of working class women today that are facing the repercussions of now that they're 40 years old, they haven't ever been married, and they decided to be a working woman. They felt like they didn't need a man. Now that they're older, they realize the mistakes that they've made. And that's a problem when a lot of us men, especially, we want to get with a woman who's younger. We're looking for women in our 30s or 20s, and we're trying to find a woman to get married. And like Bob said, he felt like he missed the boat. That was just kind of a situation. So he's looking for another chance, because a lot of these women are still in the mindset they don't even need a man. And us, we're like, okay, well, fine. If you won't give us a chance, you won't give us a chance here. You won't work it out with us here. You won't be that kind of woman for us. Then we are going to go somewhere else where, basically, like Nomad Capitalist said, go where you're treated best. I don't know if you follow Nomad Capitalist, but he says,
I'm
go
aware.
where, you're aware of him? Yeah, yeah. But yeah, go where you're treated best. Go where opportunity is. And we felt that there's an opportunity in the Philippines, overseas, finding women that really do want a, a foundational marriage, women who are marriage minded, like Bob mentioned once in his videos. That's what we're looking for.
What's the next one there, Paul?
Well, Rain said, "Are there enough women who walk with me while I'm facing challenges?" Yeah, I think there still are women out there. You just might have to. I'm sorry, you might have to lower your standards in a way. This just there are women. You might face certain situations with women here, but there are women out there. It's just you're gonna have to figure out what's your best opportunity. Me and Bob, we recommend in the local church. I think that's an opportunity. I wouldn't try to go to a bar and try to pick up one. uh, the tall tech says, "Hello, gentlemen." Hello, tall tech. All right, but moving forward, we will. You just mentioned at work. Now we're going to talk about. We will be criticized by strangers in person and online. We kind of covered this a little bit, but I guess we can talk about it a little bit more, especially since me and Bob, we run YouTube channels. We also, I guess he runs a TikTok. I kind of do a little bit of TikTok. I've gotten some kind of critics from TikTok. I don't do it as much because on TikTok, I don't do in-person videos as much. And I'm trying to, on my current channel, do more in-person videos. And this is kind of my thing. Also, we're kind of doing these live streams together, and we're even facing some criticism here today. We're facing some, well, I guess I wouldn't say criticism, but critiques, I guess, per se, of people who have different things. But what do you think, Bob?
I wrote down a single word to comment on here. Now I can't remember why. But I mean, I guess you have to have somewhat of a thick skin when you do this, and don't be afraid of it. I mean, it does take some guts, to go look to get to know a woman thousands of miles away with the desire to marry them, bring them thousands of miles away, which has its own risks, and it's tough on her, and start a new life together. Yeah, that's all difficult, and there are people who will say it could be somebody at the gym. I have a YouTube channel, and a guy a guy at the gym told me that he saw me on YouTube the other day, and I said, well, because my wife's there too. But I suppose if he had a problem with me, he could always go to other people in the gym and say, "Look at that dude over there. This is what he did. This loser over there, and my gosh, he's robbing the cradle or whatever." And I
Is
haven't
that
heard.
is that what he actually said, or you don't know?
No, he could say anything. I wouldn't
Oh,
know
okay.
because he wouldn't tell me. But he seems friendly. And so I try to remember his name and chat once in a while. And he knows he said, "Well, I've been to Thailand. Maybe I think about something like that." So it sounds like he cares enough to watch the videos and to notice me in the gym in gym clothes, and I look different. But that was kind of nice, and he wasn't critical. And I don't know anybody that, like, my financial advisor, our dentists, our doctors, everywhere we go that we've had to go together, church, they all think highly of my wife. They're always asking about her, not to gossip, but because they care. They think she's amazing and big-hearted, and they want to know about her.
Mm,
But I feel like that's vindication that I made a good choice.
yeah.
I don't know how we look together, but my wife doesn't feel or give me the impression that she feels out of place in
Mm.
public. We kiss at the gym, and you don't see anybody kiss at the gym of any age. But I like it.
I have a question
So
though. I have a question about that. So did your wife not because I think you talked to me in person about this. Did your wife not express a whole lot of PDA in person prior to that?
no, because in the Philippines, that's just
It's frowned
considered
upon.
it's considered liberal behavior.
Yeah. Yeah. That was kind of different in the Philippines. Yeah. Even trying to hold my wife's hand or walking together, it's
Yeah,
kind of
even walking together is
yeah.
something that they feel perfectly, acceptable not doing. When we go to airports
Hmm.
and my wife knows where to go and I have a little bit more luggage to drag around, she just darts off, 100 miles an hour, and I have to, yell at her to stop and
Yeah.
don't go so fast because
Yeah.
they just don't think of it.
Yeah.
It's like, hon, I want you to walk side by side so I can feel
Yeah.
like you're husband.
I
So
know. I was talking to my
please
wife about
slow
the same thing.
down.
Yeah, and that's just a Filipino trait. That's just something that they do. Because it's not something that they're used to. They're not used to. Well, they're used to the lovey-dovey Filipino guy that's very sentimental when they have tampo, but they're not used to walking together. They kind of walk separately, and it's kind of frowned upon because PDA is kind of this taboo thing that they don't have, that and they don't want people to express, people that actually know that this actually goes on. And you see very few Filipino couples actually kissing or making out in public like here in the
You
US.
don't. But we're
Yeah.
here in America, and if she feels
Mhm.
safe enough to initiate a kiss,
Mm.
then
Yeah,
I'm going to kiss her on the
exactly.
lips. If we're talking on the lips here, we're not talking about on the cheek. So if like we say goodbye, I kiss her on the lips, and that's good. She never would have done that early on. That means she's reached a state of comfort
Mhm.
level that is where it needs to be, and who knows how long that will take. But having people love her, care about her, interested in her life, and a husband that cherishes her, that helps her relocation go very well. And she will definitely learn to shut down criticism. If she hears criticism of her husband, she will not take that sitting down. She'll
Yeah,
be a supporter of him.
yeah, I agree. So Rain said, um, he said, I remember I went to Sunday church service and I didn't find any woman to talk to and get a girlfriend. How do I get a woman at church? I went to church not because I was interested in the Bible study. Honestly, I think you need to be more interested in church than finding a woman at church first.
I agree.
Yeah, you shouldn't. You should eventually find a woman at church, or even in different churches. That's a whole nother topic. But you need a relationship with God. You need the confidence that God is going to first fulfill you as a man. That's just how that works. And women will be desired to that confidence. If you're if you're acting like, trying not to cuss or anything, but if you're trying to act like a wimp, why would a woman be with you? That's just kind of how it is. But if you show confidence in, even in your predicament in life, a woman will eventually find you desirable. Women are attracted to confidence, just like some often men are even attracted to confident women. When it's kind of even like this whole role play of like, you're attracted to the kind of person who walks in, like, okay, let's say you're in a conference room and everyone's really angry throughout the day and really tired of working, and then all of a sudden the boss walks in, and the boss is the one that's confident, trying to high five people and trying to get people encouraged and everything like that. You eventually, well, I would say eventually, I would say almost nearly immediately, that boosts your confidence. It boosts the morale in the room. And then suddenly you're drawn to hear what he has to say. and suddenly you feel better about yourself because he's confident in what he's saying, and that's just something that you need to work on. And I think God will help you work on that. And I think you need to let God work on you before you try to work on a woman. That's just how that put it. I don't know if
Well,
Bob.
that's good advice.
Yeah.
What's our next one? That's good
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, moving forward. Anyway, uh dealing with bias among Filipinos. Um I don't know. Bob didn't really have a whole did you have a whole lot regarding this? Didn't face some
No, but
minor bias?
what I do know after the
Mhm.
fact, my
Okay.
wife told me just a few months ago that, you know, Filipinos do talk about Filipinos marrying Westerners, and they have
Yeah.
their strong opinions, and usually they don't like it, and they may not like to see their daughter marry. So you've got other men saying, "Oh, the women would do anything to get their daughter married off to a Westerner, no matter what he is like," and that's just not true.
Mm.
Filipino families, if they don't like the guy, Papa's not letting her marry him. Over
Yeah.
his dead body, you're going to marry his daughter, and
Mhm.
that's the way it should be. That's the way I would probably do it. So
It's very often these
they
fit.
do talk. They do talk behind people's back and gossip about women that are married to much older uh, foreign men. And so, you hear it or not, probably not because you don't speak the language. But she said there is a certain amount of disdain for those relationships. They look down on them,
Mm.
and they feel like it's just because she has to.
Yeah.
And hopefully, that's why my wife wanted to work, because she didn't want to rely on me, and she wanted to have a job. And that's worked out very well for us.
Mm. I know for me, I did face some kind of bias, and we know that Filipinas, they're gossipers. They're very much gossipers, and I know my wife kind of talks a little bit about this, but she doesn't talk too much about it because a lot of Filipinas, they often tend to be more private, and they don't want to show any signs of disrespect, but that they do. They do amongst themselves, but not directly to your face. And there is some biases about facing this, even some age gaps along with that, even among, and Bob knows this a little bit, that that even the Filipino women, they don't really find the foreign man who has a big age gap really attractive. You kind of mentioned that, didn't you?
I think it's just common sense
Yeah, yeah.
that they marry for opportunity.
And support.
Um, that's why you don't want to get carried away. I mean,
Hmm.
you'd like to feel that there's a slight chance that she married you because she thinks you're a special person, but
Yeah,
women are going to marry for a better life for themselves, and there's nothing wrong with that. I
yeah.
just did a video called, "Don't be offended if if a Filipina asks you what you do for a living," because they should. And if
Hmm.
your son is going to date somebody, or your daughter is going to date somebody, you're going to find out what that prospective son-in-law does for a living.
Mm.
So because it is important,
Yeah,
there's no debate about that. It's totally normal for her
yeah.
to ask about that.
Mm. I did face a little bit of bias, even when getting married. Several people asked me, and they wanted to make sure that I was even a godly man. On top of that, but me being an American, I guess they hear a lot of foreign men, and this is kind of normal. Foreign men who abuse Filipinas, and I do have a video kind of expressing that. I'm gonna share that with us today. Just a glimpse of it. It won't be the entire video, but just a little glimpse of understand this woman does kind of have a little bit of a bias. I have nothing against this woman, nothing against her. I understand she was trying to express herself in such a way that she wanted to be careful before approving of my marriage license to my wife.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna share that a little bit. Because even just being online and stuff, we worked through video calls and stuff. I met her family even online and stuff. I got to meet her dad.
Your family knows her.
Yeah, very well.
Yeah.
Family, church members, and everybody.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
asked because I will sign this one and I don't like that she's a Filipina, then you will
I'm
not
sorry.
love her.
I do love her.
Yeah, really? Oh,
I do.
So what did you learn there in the seminar?
What did I learn about the seminar?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's a lot of issues regarding abuse. There's a lot of issues regarding, I guess, money management and things like that. So,
So,
yeah. So just kind of express that. Yeah, she was really very hesitant to sign off on our PMC seminar, and she wanted to make sure that that my family knew her. That when she finally came over to America, she's going to have support. She was hesitant about, whether or not she's going to actually have support here in the Philippines, whether or not what I actually learned in the PMC seminar, because that's one thing that you do have to do is you do have to do a pre-marriage counseling class before you get married in the Philippines. And she wasn't the only one, but there was a few that I encountered that wanted to make sure not only was I a American, but I was a godly American. She was one that kind of asked that too. And I don't remember that part, but she does that basically. My wife does basically tell her that I'm Baptist, and I basically I I do have a religious background, but you will face some kind of criticism, some kind of bias, even minorly among other Filipinos.
You can't please everyone.
Nope, you can't please everyone. Yeah.
And if somebody's harassing you about it and you're at work, just turn them into HR and that'll stop them.
Just like what you did, yeah.
Yeah, there are means to do it besides slugging someone.
Yeah. And if you do what we're doing, like you feel confident enough to express it online, even like we are, because we're actually proud of being married to these women. We're happy, and we're happy to encourage other people to do the same. But and we're going to leave that into the next point and I, Bob, because you told me this one earlier, you should not feel ashamed for marrying someone overseas.
Well,
yeah.
Why would I make a video about shame? Because I think it's possible that some men do it because other men are telling them or influencing them to do it. They're not really sure if they should, or they're trying to get the youngest woman possible.
Oh yeah.
Or I have to marry a virgin, or I can't get married.
Yeah, a guy said that to me once.
Or where they're from or what they do, and they just don't want anybody to know. They won't tell anybody because they're ashamed of what they're doing. If they were confident, they could tell the people closest in their life, family, coworkers, people at church. Look, here's a woman. Here's what she looks like. I've been talking to her for so long. I'm going to go fly to the Philippines and meet her. And I'd like to really marry her because I'd like to marry somebody, and I just can't find anybody here. And go ahead and do that.
Yeah, it is a fast track to marriage if you are really looking to be with someone.
I think so.
Yeah, and if you really are confident enough to do it. And now, I think Bob mentioned this, but not every woman that suddenly sees you, no matter your age and your situation, not every woman over there is going to just instantly fall in love and think you're the king and just want to marry you. It's not just that case.
And if there
are some standards. Yeah, and you shouldn't just run over there and try to marry a bar girl either. That shouldn't. That's a whole nother thing. You watch our video about red flags if you want to go watch that. That was
that kind of interest that quick would be a red flag.
A very big.
When I proposed to my wife on day 18, we had been talking 4 hours a day, and she knew exactly I wasn't playing games, and I was going to be honest. I showed her where I worked. We would escape from work, driving home, in my apartment, wherever, and she trusted me that I wasn't some psycho.
Yeah.
Which I could have been, for not knowing me that long, because she didn't know what I did when I wasn't with her.
Exactly.
And vice versa. But as it turned out, we both wanted to sincerely be married, and we're going to give it a chance. And so we did get married, and I never felt ashamed, even with the 27 years. Now, at the time, when I got back, I would tell myself, did I just marry a woman that's 26 years old? And I was 53. And I thought, well, how did that happen? It's so hard to do. But to me, it's not something I even think about. The only time I think about age is me being older and dying first. And can I leave her well prepared for life without me and so on. What do I want to accomplish with her before I die? Because we do have a 27-year age gap. But I don't think about it shamefully or amazingly. It's just that's us. She's from there, I'm from here. I was born here, she was born later.
Mm-hmm.
We've got our differences, we got our similarities, but every night we go to bed, we're holding hands. We, even if we raise our voices, we get our opinions out there and we try to make up and hold hands and go to bed. And there's nothing better than waking up with her, falling asleep with her. Makes everything worthwhile. So I'm not ashamed of anything with my wife. And if you can have that vibe to other people, they're not going to be ashamed because they know that you're happy. If they see her and she looks happy and normal and well adjusted, all they can say is congratulations. That's what I want someday for me.
Yeah.
That's what I want people to say. I don't want them to say, man, that guy's defensive because I picked on his wife. No, I married her knowing not everybody would like it, but I was more interested in pleasing God than pleasing my neighbor or family or coworkers.
Yep. And man does what he should do to please his wife. The Bible says. Yeah, we need to know that. We need to definitely know that. I wasn't ashamed for it. I faced some accusations prior to this, but I wanted to put my wife beyond every other thing. And I wanted to make sure that this is what God wanted me to do. And when it came time to it, I even confided in another Christian brother of mine, and he asked me a question. He said, "Do you think that God wants you to do this?" And I said, "I'm pretty confident that God wants me to do this." And he said, "You'll know when God decides to shut that door in your life. You'll know, because all of a sudden things will kind of be in your way, and you're either trying to get in God's way, trying to get this marriage, or that it's actually going to happen. And I was really surprised at how much of it happened in such a way that everything could have gone wrong about me getting married. And it almost did. When I was even in Los Angeles airport, this was a situation that I forgot to bring. So I have sole custody. I have physical sole custody of my son, and from a previous relationship, and he's with me full term. And even getting his passport, they tried telling me that his mother needs to be present. And I said, nope, paternity action. I have this paperwork says that I don't need her approval because he's solely mine. And I forgot that paperwork when I got to LAX airport. And granted, the woman was nice enough. She didn't just up and deny me to get on the plane. She said, I will give you time to find this paperwork and email it to us. So I did. So I found it on somewhere, and I tried to bring it all together and try to show it to her. And I showed it, the picture of it on my phone. She's like, okay, just email it to this particular link and we'll be good. And
you had it on your person in a bag or something?
I did not. I forgot it.
You weren't in the airport already, were you?
Huh?
Were you in the airport already?
I was in Los Angeles airport already.
Where did you go to find it?
I went on my phone.
Okay, you had a picture of it.
Yeah.
That helps too. That's what we did with our COVID stuff. We took
pictures,
so we didn't have documents.
Yeah.
We probably had them anyway.
I didn't I realized I had it somewhere because and I had to search for it to find it because
you probably got thousands of pictures on there. I don't.
No, yeah, it was a problem, but I managed to email it, and I was glad they didn't need to take a physical copy of it. They just needed an actual virtual copy to actually see that it actually does exist. And that worked out in my favor. It really did. And I'm very blessed that actually worked out that way, because I was able to take my son. Otherwise we would have to turn back around. I would have not have made it to the Philippines. But I am really, really glad that happened the way it is. And I'm really glad that I found and I friended a particular lady that helped take me all the way to my final destination. Me and Bob talked about that making friends, especially we talked about that in our previous live stream about preparing to go over to the Philippines. That was another one. Somebody commented something. Tall Tech says, I was nervous the first time when I told my parents, family, and friends that my girlfriend was halfway across the world. But everyone was just so happy that I was dating a woman seriously. That's awesome. Mm, That's, that's I'm glad. I'm glad. Did you eventually meet this woman? We would like to know. We're probably going to get ready to close here soon. We kind of hit our last point, but yeah, let us know. We're going to open this up for a small discussion, I guess.
I know the young lady he's talking about, so I think she comes from good stock. So
okay, that's good. Okay, good.
Put in a vote for her.
There you go. And then Rain says, I'm hard time believing in God because I was abused as a child. My parents were not able, and I am an adult now, and bad things keep happening. I was born with mental disorder. Why God allowed that? Why would God allow something to happen? First off, I just want to get you to understand this. You're offering something called a judgment claim against God. We're not God's judge. Why would God allow certain things to happen? First off, God, I think in the book of Isaiah, it says, my ways are not your ways, says the Lord. So are the heavens higher than the earth. So are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. God doesn't think like us. If you want to dive deeper into God, you need to go read about the providence of God. That's a bigger thing. But you need to learn to embrace some of your circumstances. Paul learned to embrace this. He was pleading with Jesus 3 times to take this element, this issue away from himself. And Jesus replied back to Paul, says, my grace is sufficient for you. And then what does Paul say? He says, therefore I will boast in my weakness. He knew that whatever the situations that can face in his life, Paul knew this. And we could probably say, I don't know if Bob knows this. Bob thinks the same way, but we think that Paul was facing some blindness, some pretty predominant blindness. And that's what a lot of Christians believe. And he was asking Jesus to help cure some of his blindness, because we do see that Paul does actually say that what large letters I write in his scriptures. So we do think that the possibility that his ailment that Paul was facing was he was facing this real severe blindness. Yeah, because we do see him blind early on the road to Damascus. We do see his eyes were recovered, and like these scales fall off of his eyes after that situation. And then we also see Paul still facing some difficulty after the fact. But that being said, whatever the circumstances are, we see a lot of people even facing these issues, even in the Old Testament and the New Testament. God's not calling us to be perfect people. God's just calling us to be people called upon by God. And that's all that God wants from you. And regardless that you have a mental disorder, regardless that God is allowing this to happen in your life, God's probably showing something in your life out of that. Now, I can't speak for God. I can't. But all I can say is just trust God in it and ask God what he would have you to do out of that rain. Just try it. But don't blame God for it, because it's not it's beyond your knowledge. Whatever the situation is, it's beyond your capability of fully understanding, and God will make it plain to you one day, either here or there. That being said,
I'm just asking Tall Tech a question there.
what did he say? I have plans to. He had plans to visit her in May. Okay,
that's like 3 months away. Well, that's nothing.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Nothing. Yeah, it is hot and humid at that time, I would say. But
March, April, May, June, probably.
Yeah, that's the beginning around that time. I think around April, especially. That's the hot season, right?
Because May season. It was hot over there is like It could be 88 and it feels like 188. It
Okay.
could be 92. It doesn't really matter. It's just plain
Yeah.
hot and humid, and you're going to start sweating
Hmm.
5 minutes after you go outside, even if you're not a sweater. five
Especially if you're
minutes,
near the beach at all. If you're near a beach, it's gonna be really humid.
yeah, you better dress up.
Hmm.
We did go to a beach my first
Mm.
time there, and I hope
Yeah.
to go back again. I'm very sentimental.
Yeah.
It's been like 3 years since we were there, and we may go in 25.
Mm.
It's next year because I don't know. I mean, I don't want to go that far away. It's
Yeah.
just so far away. But
Yeah.
maybe we'll go one more time. I don't know. I guess I don't need to. But again, I am sentimental. And we live close to where we got married, so would kind of like to see where we got married, even if it's run down like a lot of things are these days if they didn't get filled
Oh yeah.
with events, with COVID. So, but that's how it was. Just relive the history a little bit because it was the biggest day of my life, biggest experience of my life, biggest risk of my life. But I never felt that I was risking
It's
anything.
definitely a big risk. Yeah. Yeah.
I never felt that way though. I mean, I know it
Yeah.
was, but I
Yeah.
never felt. It's like going to the free throw line with the game on the line, and you got to make 2 free throws to tie the game, and there's no time left. You might just do it. You don't have to be scared to death. You know the situation,
Yeah.
and you just feel like, well, I've been shooting free throws all my life, so what's the big difference with no time on the clock? But
Yeah.
yeah, there's some pressure there, but I never felt that I was making it something that could go very wrong. Never. All I thought was this: I'm going to work really hard to roll up my sleeves and make this marriage work.
Me too.
And I'm
Yeah.
going to pray every day and pray with my wife for her life, my life, others in her life, and the health of the marriage. And I wasn't going to just stop pursuing her after we got married. You got to keep dating after you get married, they say. And it's right. You can't get complacent just because she's there.
Yeah.
Everything starts all over again when she's there, and that should be a good thing.
Back in America when she's
When
in
she's with you if she
Yeah.
relocates after immigration.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that the fact that it's kind of like it's all new again. It's all different. Now you get to
For
show her
both of
everything.
you.
Yeah. And it's a whole different adjustment because you went over there to adjust to her kind of lifestyle. And now she's got to come over here and adjust to your lifestyle. And you got to be there with her. You got to be alongside of her no matter what. Especially like you even mentioned, even homesickness. That's a big one.
She will be, and you can't tell her, look, you're not there anymore. You got to forget about that. You're starting a new life. You can't criticize her for being homesick. You should anticipate her being homesick and lasting several months or more, and just try to be as compose her and console her and tell her it's difficult and you can do everything you can to
Yeah.
help her with her adjustment to your country and be supportive in every way, and don't take it as a bad sign when she's homesick. It doesn't mean she is dreading what she just did and living with you. No, she misses that huge family relationship you probably can't relate to.
Yeah.
Meaning anybody watching this probably can't relate to that.
Yeah.
And so my wife cried for a couple months, I guess. She didn't even tell me about it.
Mm.
I don't know why.
Right in
I
private.
mean,
Yeah.
I'm hoping she gets more open and transparent living with me because, I want her to be open and transparent. I don't want any secrets. I don't want any mysteries. I want to know who she is, good, bad, ugly. I don't care. I just want to know. And
Yeah.
I feel I need that. I guess some people probably don't feel safe there, but I don't feel safe if I don't expose myself and she exposes who she is, her inner fears,
Mm.
thoughts, dreams, goals, aspirations, pains, um, and let me help her somehow.
Does
Maybe that helps us to, stay together when we knew each other so little. But I mean, I'm serious. Day one of that marriage, when she's with you, starts all over. Then it gets more difficult.
Mm.
It has to because
Yeah.
dating is so simple compared to living with somebody in marriage.
Did your wife face some kind of tampo a little
Did
bit?
I face it from her?
Yeah.
Oh, I suppose, but it never really got off the ground because
Okay.
she told me she was upset with me and
Okay.
she didn't want me to touch her or talk to her. Just give her a few hours and she'll be fine. But she was very upset with me. And since that happened a few times, it's been years since I ever got the cold shoulder
Mm.
because I kind of insist that we talk, hash it out
Yeah.
now. And we've learned and we've grown, and it's been tough. It's been
Mm.
tough in every way that a marriage gets stressed because two people are living together.
Yeah.
And I am totally committed. That makes it a lot easier. I want to be the perfect husband. And those days I'm not, I need to apologize and keep trying to be the best I can be for her because I want her to know, and she knows. She knows I'm absolutely crazy about her. And it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what I say, it's what I do and how I support her and everything that's important to her that I can possibly handle, because it's good for her. And I figure it's good for me and good for us if it's good for her. But if anything comes across that I don't think is good for her or for us, then I just say no.
No.
It could be like applying for a job that makes less money. That's going to be a big no. Can't do that. In America, you make more every year, not less.
Yeah.
And she's
Especially
got
now.
the skills. She's in the peak of her career. She's moving up. No reason whatsoever. That's when I have to put my foot down and say, I'm not trying to control your life, but I don't think that's a good decision.
Mm.
And I don't want you to take that job because we need the money. We need your money and your potential income. And she has a lot. And our lives are getting more expensive, as you know, and she needs to think about making more money, not less.
Mm.
But other than that, I pretty much try to just let her be happy and fulfilled and pursue the things that are important to her. But if I feel something is just not a good idea, I have to say it, and I have to be able to support it with, hopefully facts or sense.
Mm.
But no, I don't overrule. I try not to boss her around or control her, um, because even though I am the boss, okay, that doesn't mean I have to make every decision or have my way in everything. But if it's going to be dangerous, damaging, sinful, I just have to say, or really foolish, I just have to say no. Can't do that.
Yeah, I haven't faced yet.
Yeah.
But I know I
You
will.
will, and it
Yeah.
hurts. But
Yeah.
eventually, if you're right and you prove to be competent with your decisions,
Mm.
um, and you're solid and consistent, then she'll learn that,
Yeah.
okay, he's probably right. I'm not going to argue with him. And in the future, I can trust him to make good decisions as long as she feels like she's not chained up.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to chain up your wife. Otherwise, it's just gonna wind up backlashing on you.
It
I
can't
do,
be a good thing.
yeah, I do want to respond to the tall tech. So I do have a video. I don't know if you're prepared, but if you have any possible questions regarding us, we can walk you through. I don't know if you're just meeting her or if you are planning on getting married to this particular lady over there. But I do have some advice for you in the future regarding legal capacity, PMC seminars. I do also have a video on my YouTube channel. Actually, let me see real quick. Uh, let's see. I forgot the name of it. Let's see. Uh, don't make these common mistakes before coming to the Philippines. I will say that for the tall tech, that gives you 6 possible things to consider before coming to the Philippines. That's a good video for you, and it's been really helpful for several other people that have watched it. I think over 519 people have now watched it and found it pretty helpful too. But yeah, if you are planning on going in May, I just encourage you to possibly check that out.
Yeah, Tall Tech, I recommend the video.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe something in there you haven't thought about yet.
Yeah. There's a few things in there that people haven't really understood and kind of didn't quite think about, and I didn't really find them on a lot of other how to prepare to go to the Philippines kind of videos. They don't really talk about it, and this one's rather updated too. So, but yeah, I don't know. We can open this up for discussion if anyone has anything that they would like to discuss or questions that they have. So we can just go ahead and do that now. If not, let's go from there. Oh, that's a wrong one.
So just a reminder, this is simulcast on each of our channels. I've been
Mhm.
married to my wife since May 10th of 2015. And so that's about, what, 8 years and 9 months.
Okay.
So she's been here since January 11th, 2016. Paul is married to a woman from the Philippines from October of a couple of years ago. And she will be there hopefully this year when his life starts all over again. And
Yeah.
yeah, and it'll be more exciting, but it sure will be good to have that woman with you every night.
Yeah. Bob, are you open to us? Like, you're in Nebraska, so well, I probably shouldn't tell you where you're located.
I'm in Nebraska, but
Yeah.
that's as close as we come, or else my wife will have to kill you.
I didn't know if you're interested in us meeting up with you guys sometime.
I don't know how that's going to happen.
Yeah, if we could ever meet up sometime. Just didn't know if you're interested in us.
I'm scared to drive where you live. But
you don't have to be scared.
I won't give any more hints, but
oh, I know. I live in St. Louis.
Combat training before.
No, I don't face a whole lot of issues, but we are facing a lot of well, I wouldn't say carjackings, but car theft. A lot of these teens that are stealing cars in the surrounding areas. One of my cars got stolen recently.
Is this because of some recent governmental defund the police type of thing?
No, maybe, I don't know. I wouldn't say that kind of a situation. I would say that there's really just a lack of responsibility among parents and children lately, parents and teens, I would say, and a lack of discipline among authority figures. When I did recover my vehicle and I did talk to the police officer said, and he actually showed me, and I thought it was each car in between the line, but he had different plate numbers in between each line, and it was hundreds. I want to say at least hundreds of cars that they're looking for, and he even asked me what kind of new car am I planning on getting, because that kind of matters, because we know Kias and we know that Hyundais are desirable to be stolen lately. And
I just heard that 2 days ago from the police.
Yeah. It's because there's a flaw in there, and people were showing it on TikTok and YouTube how to steal them.
Verbatim, you said what that police officer said.
Yeah, people were showing them how to do that, and so since they were able to show them how to do that, they were these teens are running around amok, able to do these things, and their parents are not taking responsibility for them. And what the officer said is that he's not even allowed to chase them unless he's allowed to shoot to kill.
Unless he was threatened.
Yeah. So basically, he's allowed to follow them and chase them, but he's not allowed to chase them over a certain speed limit. He's, it's too difficult to pursue them because their jobs are on the line, kind of defunding the police situation, but also a little bit on the fact is that if an officer accidentally hurts another individual, their job is on the line, and then suddenly issues happen and arise, and then the parents or even the judge will be asking, well, why did you go over the speed limit when you're not supposed to do these things? And you can say, well, I was in pursuit of this other individual, and then this happened. Well, you just created another circumstance for doing that. And it's just an ongoing issue. Lately, even here in St. Louis, we see a lot of people doing thefts and robberies, and the judges are just tired of it, so they're just letting them go.
Or do we not have enough room to incarcerate them?
That's a whole nother issue. That's what the officer said too. We don't have room for them. They don't even want to bother with them anymore. Yeah, they have all these charges, but there's just it's just so much lately that these officers are swamped, the judges are swamped, the the prisons and the jail cells are full, and there's and the repercussions, and no one's disciplining these kids anymore. I mean, this is just something that I wish we could do. I wish we could exile them.
Mm,
I wish
yeah.
I wish judges would do that. I think there was one judge that actually did exile a particular person from their town. But
Keep it safe.
I think he got reprimanded for doing that, but
Probably
he's
got the gas chamber.
but well, no, he got in trouble for doing that to that guy, but I mean, I think we need to I think we need one thing that the officer did mention is that we need that the people that we're voting for that represents us, that since we have voted for them and since they're not taking responsibilities to discipline these people correctly, it's kind of going downhill, and that's kind of our fault for voting these people in. And that's kind of the situation. That's part of the situation, but I think it's more than that. I also think it's also because there's just a lack of responsibility with parents lately too, that are not taking these children for accountability either. That's a whole nother situation too.
I wish politicians would get, if they don't keep their promises, they're gone.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Sorry, Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
But the American people are going to hold you accountable, or people of Nebraska or wherever, and they don't think you're getting it done. They don't feel safe, and they don't think you're doing a good job. So
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. In general, I feel safe. I don't really feel threatened. I don't think anyone's actually pointing a gun at my face here, but just in general, we're having neighbors that are getting their cars stolen. Yeah. And it's an ongoing issue. And I asked the officer, well, what's the best thing we can do? And he said, lock up your car and put a club on it. Yeah. Because he said anything that would deter them, because these people, they're lazy. So anything that would stop them and that would be anything extra would cause them to not want to mess with your car.
One of the things, Tall Tech, that I found when I was dating and actually could get a date was it just seemed like the person I was with was only interested in talking about themselves and not interested in asking me a question about, myself. And I was the one that wanted to date them. So that came from a dating site. The only date I probably got from that dating site. And I also tried 4 of them, 2 of them twice. And that was just really almost impossible to get a response. And that was really like, okay, so now what? What do I do now? If you get on a dating site for one of the Philippine sites, you will get more action, so to speak, than you ever did in American dating sites.
Yeah.
And then you just have to sort out whether they're serious or whether they're, just want money, or they're just playing around, or they're serious for a husband.
Yeah.
But that's the fun, is in the sorting through all those profiles.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll have more friends.
I tried dating apps here in America too, and then Facebook also came out with its own little dating app, and I got a few hit or misses. I've met some people that really got some good successful stories from dating apps in America, and now they're married with them and stuff like that. The problem I face with dating apps in America is a lot of them are typically women that are somewhat damaged, I would say. They're somewhat damaged. They have their issues, and the majority of them either, because apps like that make it really easy. So you either find this guy desirable or you don't find that guy desirable, and you're like back and forth swiping. So that makes it difficult for any woman to even give you a chance. And then on top of that, whatever circumstances in their life, whatever issues they might have, they may not even if they find a desirable guy, they may not even work up the encouragement to even talk to them on top of that. And then if they do, They might even consider themselves too good for you. And then go back on the dating app, and they'll spend years on a dating app. Years. Not ever settling on one guy. That's the I see with American dating apps. Filipino dating apps, what?
They're serious about marrying in the Philippines.
Yeah, Filipino dating apps, they're typically serious if they're not a scammer on there.
Right. And they're not as
They're typically pretty serious. The majority of them are pretty serious because the way the culture works in the Philippines is most of them have been instilled to be marriage minded. So no matter what, I mean, you have a 50-50 chance in the Philippines more than you have a 50-50 chance in America. It's more like maybe 10% or less in America that someone might be marriage minded. That's just my thought. Now, that being said, when I got on an American dating site, I've only ever went on 2 dates, period. And just like you, a woman got me for a free meal. And and I went all the way down south part of the Missouri, and it wasn't even that great. And that woman wasn't even that great. And I lowered my standard, and she thought she was better than me, and I thought she was a Christian, and she never hit me up again. And I was like, okay, this is tough. And I decided to kind of forget that. And then I did date ladies. I did date ladies in person, and a lot of them had their personal issues. I won't go too far in their personal issues, but a lot of bad things happened between me and them, and they weren't really marriage material, and they didn't seem like they were wanting to settle down. But when I got on a Filipina dating website, I had to literally hide my profile. I got so many that I had to hide my profile. Now, recently me and my wife, we became partners on Christian Filipina. And even though now we set up a profile, and I'm trying to check out the profiles, trying to check out the actual app itself, and I've been trying to figure out if the app is worth us talking about. Bob's kind of done a few affiliate videos and stuff for them, and he actually found his wife on Christian Filipina, right? Yeah. I didn't find my wife on Christian Filipina. I found her on a different Filipino dating site, but I kind of wish me and my wife would have found each other on Christian Filipina. That's one thing that I did recommend, and we are affiliates of that. But I'm glad I didn't find my wife on there, because honestly, I probably would have wanted it with someone else. But I'm glad I found my wife. I'm glad to be with the woman that God put in front of me.
Yeah. Honestly, Paul, in a sense, if you had 10 women that you could pick out of a lineup, and all 10 of them would have been in God's will for you to marry.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not the one and only out there. That just causes paralysis with.
Yeah, but I'm glad that I'm glad I'm with Joanna, and that's what our network is about. Joanna and Paul. That's what JP stands for, and it's about us. It's about our journey together, and just like you, Tall Tech, I'm hoping that all of that, is going to fulfill you. I'm hoping that woman's the right kind of woman for you, that you guys put God first in that relationship. And me and Bob will be there to help you guys with your journey as much as we can. We'll talk about it. We'll work through that. And we do wish, and we don't wish, but we do pray for you. And we do hope that you guys stay strong together, and especially in the Lord. But that being said, I mean, I had to hide my profile because I got way too many women on the dating site. And even now on this new one, I'm not even talking to any of them, and they're winking at me and talking. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. And I tried reaching out to one of the partners on Christian Filipina, and I had to fill out more on my profile to talk to a representative. And I wanted to talk to him to possibly get a certain membership recently, and they wound up calling me, and they did give me a an email to talk to somebody in marketing. So hopefully marketing can email me back regarding my request. But I plan on in the future, I'm going to try to do a review of Christian Filipina for future people that really want to see that. That being said, if anyone else got anything going on, or you guys have any questions, Tall Tech, if you have any questions about the Philippines, we're kind of here right now. We can kind of shoot you an answer regarding that real quick. Otherwise, I don't know if Bob's got. I think he's got to go here soon, and I got to go to bed soon too.
My daddy Bob needs to go pick up new daughter from.
What time you got to leave soon? Like when
I can leave at 10:30.
Okay,
but I still haven't had time to tape the video yet today. It's just
okay.
It's so busy. It's like do what I can. And I want to get the video before I go home. Too. I mean, before I go to bed. I'd do it a lot earlier, but if I don't have time. But this is a video, but I got to tape one. I tape one a day if I can.
I gotcha. But yeah, Tall Tech, if you got anything, we're gonna wait here for you and see if you have anything. And if not, we're going to close for the day.
Yeah, we're a channel about serious
marriage
to a woman from the Philippines, respect them, and fulfill God's will for your life to get married and look anywhere on earth.
Yeah, we're not sex bats.
In other countries that would love to marry a foreigner from other countries too.
Yeah.
You might deal with some of the same issues, but there are women there that would make an excellent wife. Yeah. And they should be considered for their sake. If you want to love someone and be good to someone, there's women all over the world that can make you a fine wife.
Right. I'm about to sneeze, I think. But I'm a big proponent of especially going to the Philippines. I would say that because I did find my wife in there. And I will also kind of mention the fact is when I was looking for an Asian wife, I wanted an Asian woman. I definitely wanted her to be God-fearing. I wanted her to put God first and all that. And I wanted a woman that was at least somewhat adaptable. And one thing that I faced with other Asian cultures, oh man, I might sneeze.
Use the mute button.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Anyway, one thing I told Bob about this is that facing other Asian cultures, a lot of those Asian women, they're not as adaptable, and they, especially in the family structure, they want you to know their language, their cultural terms, and their different, the way they do certain things, certain ways you bow, certain ways you use your utensils, certain ways you go throughout daily lives, and certain practices that you do certain things in those cultures, and how to respond to your elders in certain ways. The Philippines is very different in that regard because they do have those, but they're more laxed on those things, and they're more adaptable. When you bring them over to America, they're willing to adjust to your culture in such a way. And that's kind of one thing that I didn't have to work at. I wouldn't say I didn't have to work as hard, but not work as hard learning her culture and her language as much, because she actually speaks English and she knows more about American culture, because Filipinos are sort of westernized, I would say a little bit. I wouldn't say that they're fully westernized, but they've been they did have some experience with Western culture and Western knowledge. With that being said, so I am a big proponent of that, but I do think that along with that, if you do want to date another woman, not just in the Philippines, I think you just need to understand what you're going to put yourself through cultural understandings. I mean, you could date a Japanese woman, a Korean woman, a woman from Spain, a woman from Nigeria, but you have to know what you're going to put yourself through, and understanding those cultures and understanding how to adjust to your wife, because not only are you going to have to understand your wife as a female, you're going to have to understand your wife's culture too.
Yeah, because that affects her.
It does.
It will affect you. Move to your country and instill some Filipino values, cook Filipino food, expect certain behavior from
Yeah.
you that she's used to at home. And you can't always just say, well, that's we're not in the Philippines. We don't do
Yeah.
that here. You want to be
Yeah.
respectful of where she grew up, and that culture of the woman that you wanted to marry helped shape her to be the woman that you know. So there's good things about it.
Does your wife point with her lips still?
Not anymore.
Okay. I didn't know.
At first, yes. But now that you mention it, in first time in years, I thought about it. I haven't seen that happen.
Mm.
I think we're
I think
just
I like the country song. I'm a one woman man. Okay.
who sang that?
Hey, I don't know that
Would that be? Let me just take a wild guess.
song.
Was that Brooks and Dunn?
Mm.
Just a guess. I'm
Maybe.
not familiar with the
I'm not
song.
sure.
I like. I don't. I'm not crazy about country music, but I'm not uncrazy about most music. I'll give it a chance.
I got you.
I
What's
used
your
to
what's your
pick
thought
country
about
music.
music? I don't know if you are you do you still listen to modern music today, or do you rather listen to
Oh,
CCM music or
I've got my heavy metal go tos for the
okay.
gym.
Okay. I just
And
didn't.
what worked in the '80s still works today for rocking out
Okay.
in the gym. I
Yeah.
mean, if there's music. I've got music I like that would be more appropriate for stretching.
Mm.
But once it's in with the weights, then I've got to listen to something a little faster
Okay.
and I've
Kind of something to get you in the
always
rhythm. I got you.
always been a big part of my lifting
Yeah.
routine was the music. I can't lift weights and listen to talk radio.
Oh, okay.
I can stretch and listen to talk radio
Mm.
and do some planks or something. But George Jones, interesting. My favorite George Jones song, the one that makes me cry all the time. He stopped loving her today. George Jones, probably his most famous
I have to
song.
look it up.
It was actually the lyrics are so kind of funny,
I
silly
probably know the song though.
that it was actually written by the person that wrote it was doing an interview, and he said it was actually more of a joke.
Mm.
They didn't really expect it to sell just because of the obvious references to death, or maybe they weren't so obvious, but that's the terminology was that he stopped loving her because he died, and they thought it was somewhat humorous with just the terms that they used, but it actually ended up being a huge George Jones hit. Everybody
Oh,
sings it now. That's anybody in country music. Yeah, he stopped loving her today. Um, Darn good song.
yeah.
Not a big George Jones fan or not. I just know he's an icon in country music with an extremely rare voice. Married to Tammy Wynette. Stand by your man. I don't know if she eventually didn't stand by her man, but you know,
I wrote it down. I
that is
probably
a
know the songs. I had to look
oh,
it up though.
it's a corny song. I guess
Yeah.
that's in a way it's corny, but it took me like when I was young about 5 times to hear it before I understood what was really going on there.
Mm. All
But why
right.
did he leave her? Why did he leave her? What happened?
I know.
He died.
Oh, well, I don't know. Bob, do you have anything else to say or closing thoughts
Well, I just hope that
regarding
every time we do a live stream, somebody feels a little bit better about their opportunity to find a woman. I
Mhm.
know Rain was talking about some very real difficulties that there are
Yeah.
no easy answers for. But I'm concerned about people that have no impediments really, of any kind, and they're sitting sitting there still when they should be looking for a wife somewhere.
Well,
I didn't. I look. I was single for alone for 30
yeah.
years. No girlfriend, no nothing. 30 years. I could have been in prison and had the same amount of dating and touch and all that, relationship. Um, but no, I wasn't in prison. It just nothing was working, nothing was happening,
I
and I
agree.
think that was because God's intention was to drive me so far out of my comfort zone, out of a desperate need to keep looking to find somebody that I was willing to go anywhere.
Me too.
Anywhere. I didn't even know where the Philippines was when I married her.
I
I
didn't.
just knew it was a long the plane. There were 4 plane trips to get there finally.
Yeah, and we're not unique. Or you know, I mean, just in general, we're not unique. People have been doing this for a long time. It's
Absolutely.
yeah. This is so well known now that they even have systems in place how this happens now.
Yet some people still say they're all gold diggers. It's all for
Yeah,
money. It's all for green card.
yeah. This
And
is
one thing we forgot to
common.
talk about was the criticism if you're a simp,
Yeah,
you're somebody like a soy boy or something like that.
yeah. I don't even know
You're
what a
you're
soy boy
going
is,
because you
but
can't
it's
find
weird.
anybody else, and
Yeah,
you're just going to let her walk all over you, and she's going to
yeah,
take all your money. And real
yeah,
men don't go to the Philippines to marry. I think real men get married. That's real men do that much at least. Get married.
yeah, yeah.
And
I agree.
then
Real
you
men should get
take
married.
care of your family, take care of your wife. That's what a real man does.
Mhm.
Unless unless he does not have any physical desire for sex. Then he is being called to some other kind of lifestyle of service because marriage is a lifestyle of service. My job is to be a
Paul talks about that. Yeah.
servant leader of my wife,
Mhm.
and to take pleasure in that.
Mm.
But if you're not married, then what influence are you having in the world? You can have a good influence, but if you're meant to be married, you're going to be miserable.
Yeah.
Probably hurt your testimony. Bad things can happen when you're, sexually frustrated and lonely all the time.
Yeah. I
People
know.
commit crimes in those
Yeah.
situations,
I know.
take their life.
Yeah. I know several people I talk to who downplay my decision getting married, and the way they treated me and stuff like that. And they even asked me why didn't I go to a local bar or something, find a woman, and I said that's not what I wanted. That's not how I wanted it. And several individuals, I downright called them a hedonist, and they thought I called them a heathen. And I said, no, you're a hedonist. And what a hedonist is desires of pleasure is what's most important in your life. That's what a hedonist is. You're drawn to hedonism. And and they were like, yeah, I'm definitely that. Yeah, you are. Because that's all you want to do is you want to seek pleasure in your life. And several individuals I've encountered about trying to get married, and that's no, they rather not get married. They rather just mess around with just different women every week if they want to, or every day.
Um, People should know that you or I do not espouse that type of behavior.
Yeah, yeah,
There's plenty of channels that do.
yeah.
This will be a live stream simulcast where we're both married. One is with his wife now, the other isn't. And we
Yeah.
both are happy with our decision and can
And
defend it against criticism
yeah,
without losing our tempers because we're secure
mm,
with what we did.
exactly.
Made up our mind. We had input from other people and we were under no compulsion. We just thought this was the time to pull the trigger.
It was a time to make a move before there wasn't no time, more time left. I had to
Yeah.
pull some major strings in my life and make some things that I wasn't comfortable with doing just to go. And but I made it work out.
Yeah, it's amazing, Paul. When I was 53, before I met, excuse me, before I met my wife, I felt like I was 53 going on 83.
Yeah.
Now that I'm 62, it's like I don't think about that anymore.
Oh,
I used to lie in bed at night, and my clock that I had at that time was a clock with the second hand that moves around. And I'd lie in bed, and well, if I didn't hear the tick, I could see that hand moving, and it drove me crazy because I kept thinking, I'm running out of time. I'm running out of time. I'm going to wake up in the morning, and did it help me find a wife? And I'm not advocating that, but that's what I would think when I would look at the time. I wasn't seeing what time it was to go to bed as much I was seeing how fast the rest of my life was moving, and time was running out.
yeah. Time
That
was
did
running.
bother me, but that's not bad because it forced me to not get complacent. It forced me out of my comfort zone,
Yeah.
talking to women from far away, which I thought would be terrifying. It wasn't. They're very comfortable, I
Mm,
thought, talking to me. I don't think it's a rarity over there.
No.
They've done it before, and they're comfortable, and that made me comfortable. They were all easy to talk to. Michael Ginter, Mitchell, I'm sorry. Hi, Mitchell.
Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Good to see you, Michael. Or Mitchell. Actually, his name is Mitchell. Sorry.
Mitchell, what did I say?
You said Michael.
I did maybe first, Mitchell.
Yeah. Hey guys, happy Friday. Mitchell, we're getting ready to head off here soon, but if you can watch the replay. But
we've been here since 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
1L? Okay, Mitchell, yeah. And the letters get close together like that.
Yeah.
Harder for me to see. Who's grandma?
Yeah. But we are Mitchell, if you have any questions before we head off, I mean, I don't know if you're interested in dating a Filipina, if you are currently dating a Filipina, if you have any things that you're facing like that. But before we head off, we can kind of just express our thoughts. Let us know real quick. But
watch our videos.
Yeah.
Ren and Paul, Love Beyond the Sea.
Yep. Let us know. I've been dating
3 years, Mitchell. It's time for the next move, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you ready for the next step?
Have you met him in person? Met this individual in person? Okay, so so you plan on going again. We got you. So yeah, that's good. That's really good.
I think if you're serious,
yeah. So you know all about Philippines too.
Is enough to know. You might even be able to plan your wedding.
Yeah.
On your second trip.
Yeah.
Unless you want a fiance visa, but you're going out there again, you might as well get married.
Yeah. Mitchell, reach out to me on my channel, Joanna and Paul, if you can, and email me if you can on hello@joannaandpaul.com. And I would like to speak with you. The possibility, me and Bob are possibly looking and bringing other people on the stream. We want to know about your experiences, your encounters, what you did in the Philippines, how you can help other people in the future who also are planning on doing what we're doing, what you have done. You know, meeting this woman, and anything and any advice that you have. I am looking to include more people onto the live stream. So if you're interested in checking that out, let me know.
Are you visiting? Are you going the first half of the year here, Mitchell? One of the other guys up above is going in May.
Yeah, another individual going in May. But yeah, you can just join a voice, and yeah, we'll include you into a voice. You don't have to show your picture. That's fine. Oh, he's planning on going in June, he says. That's cool.
He can show his picture, Paul, as long as he's not more good looking than we are. We're better looking, you know, he can show his picture. If he's better looking, no.
Yeah. Yeah. But we're interested in bringing your wife on too. Eventually I got a podcast thing here, but I plan on eventually doing this with my wife next to her, and then eventually when she finally comes here, we'll be talking about her experiences in America and stuff too. That'd be cool. She actually told me the other day, she really regrets that we didn't do this while being in the Philippines together. And I said, yeah, but it's okay. Watch your videos and was on another live a while back. Okay. It's good.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We're gonna try to do this as often as we can. Me and Bob has to come up with another topic. We're going to talk about that. Bob, do you have an idea of another topic next week?
Oh, we can off the record.
Okay, we'll do that.
You know, I've had 1,600 videos on my channel, so I've got 300 plus more to make. So I've got a lot of ideas. Whether they're interesting to a massive amount of people or not,
yeah,
I don't know.
Okay,
but
I'm
just
trying
to work
through some ideas.
People that leave comments here, a lot of good topics from that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, if you guys, this is another thing. If you're watching the replay or if you're watching it currently right now, if you guys have any particular topics that you want to discuss, let us know. we're big proponents of talking about whatever you guys want to talk about. And I do want to eventually bring other people onto the streams and talk about successful marriages. I do want to also try to bring on other YouTube channel people. I want to reach out to them eventually. I want to grow my channel first, because I don't know if somebody who's got 50,000 subscribers will talk to the person who's only got 1,000. I don't know. But I would love to reach out to people like that too.
Yeah, that's normal, Mitchell.
I have to go back and watch this one. I've dealt with a lot of negativity from friends, family, and others. Yeah. This just try to encourage yourself to, no matter what, out of watching this. This is common. It's very common in dealing with criticisms and these critiques, and you're going to face these situations no matter what. And just try to be humble about it if you can. Just understand that they're coming from a different understanding, and this is very common. I kind of mentioned it early on in the live stream that there's a lot of stigma, especially because people watch like 90 Day Fiance, and they get a lot of drama out of that, and a lot of people get a lot of these issues where they face a lot of accusations against these things, because this isn't something new. This is something that's been going around for a while.
I'm going to ask him a question here.
Okay.
Because we talked about this earlier, and maybe some people don't think about it. If you had your girlfriend video chat with your family, that's when they can meet her and ask her questions and size her up.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell your family why she's different, why you trust her, and there's always risk. I mean, acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Talk to her. Meet her family.
Yeah. Things will eventually change when, I don't know if you plan on bringing her here, but more than likely you are. If that's the situation, it will eventually get better.
They will be aghast at the roosters. They will be aghast at some of the surroundings, and the dogs barking and the pigs, and just don't be ashamed of that. Yeah. Never be ashamed of the woman that you're going to marry.
The fam was awesome. Yeah, I know, isn't it? The fam is really nice. I love that too.
I meant your family, Mitchell.
Well, he's talking about the Filipinas family.
Yeah, I'm talking about the ones that aren't
fiance or girlfriend,
giving him a little bit of grief, like probably his own family. Have them do a video chat with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. You
don't be ashamed. That was like one of our things that we even said in like our last one. And don't have to feel ashamed marrying someone overseas. That was one of our last topics we were talking about. So, all right. We're planning on getting off here. If you have any further things, Mitchell, lots of support, but some comments here and there. You guys know. Yeah, we know.
Well, Mitchell and everybody else that was here tonight, you have a good night as well. I know it's late. Some of you are probably had a long day, and we appreciate you being here since 8 o'clock. We tried a different time to start today, and I guess all we can do is evaluate it next week.
Yeah.
Look at some of the analytics and see how it went as far as before, compare it to that.
Exactly. I did start, I don't know if Bob is doing this, and I might try to see if I can help Bob, but I did start moving this stuff over to YouTube Music, because YouTube Music is now integrated with podcasts. So with this being said, you don't have to watch the actual live stream. You actually watch us. You can actually hear us now on my channel, and just go to my podcast playlist. This one next will be up. I'm going to try to cut down because we do have a countdown timer. I'm going to try to cut that down on that a little bit. And I'm also going to try to help out Bob to try to put timestamps in these a little bit in the future, and see what we can come up with on his channel to help him with timestamps. But YouTube Music is now moving over to podcast. And if you just download the YouTube's Music app, you can actually search my channel which is Joanna and Paul, and try to find, and just if you want to, you can casually listen to it also.
Okay.
You don't have to, yeah. Later. All right, later, guys. Y'all have a blessed night, and God bless you.
All right. We'll see you next Friday.
Yep. See you next Friday. Bye.